Again, we have three parallel tracks. Here at track one, we have Djordje Maricic and Oliver Zuber. Djordje Maricic is a highly motivated entrepreneur and trainer with experience in training small and large groups across diverse industries. Proven success in leveraging educational theories and methodologies to design, develop, and deliver successful training programs and integrate instructional technology to provide on-site and virtual training. He has a comprehensive knowledge of the techniques and methods of implementing effective training sessions. He's experienced in delivering training in leadership, soft skills, and technical and information sessions. Welcome, Djordje.
Thank you, Jovana. Thank you very much for a nice introduction.
Thank you a lot. I would like to ask you to introduce Oliver, please.
Yes, well, Oliver, I will introduce him when the time comes because our idea is to start with a presentation so we can lead everyone in to why it is important to invest in essential skills first. Once again, Jovana, thank you very much for a nice introduction, and big thanks to HR Week, everyone at HR Week, and all of you who have joined us and choose track one for our presentation. So our topic is essential skills versus hard skills. What should we focus more on? And today with me, it's going to be Oliver Zuber, a colleague of mine, I may say, in a way, and a client of Maverick Consulting from Motorola Solutions. So let's start today with where we are and when we are. Today's Tuesday, November 24, but it feels like March 9. This very year was like some years ago. Don't you feel like that, Oliver?
That's absolutely right. And also, hello, everybody. Welcome from my side here from Vienna, Austria. Yes, it does feel like where time has stand still and we're on a different planet, to be honest. Yeah, I agree.
Well, if this were, let's say, normal times, we would be sharing the spot, hopefully in Belgrade together, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, you saw Oliver, and please remain here, Oliver, and let's get into this story of why it's important to invest in essential skills. So this very nice spring Monday of March 9, I drove my car to a very nice hotel in Kecskemét. This is a photo of Kecskemét, and this is a photo of a hotel in Kecskemét on your right-hand side. Oliver talking to one of the participants of a training program we have developed for Oliver's partners in Hungary. And since that March until today, one thing changed everything. Yet, I believe that it only shed brighter light on what we all need to focus more on: how we interact with ourselves and how we interact with others. My name is Djordje Maricic, and I've been supporting individuals and organizations to utilize their full potential over the last 10 years in more than 20 countries. To support the statement that we need to invest more in essential skills or in essential skills first, in the next 20 minutes, I would love to do the following. So first of all, I would love to learn what helped you to cope better with this new normal over the last 7 months, to share some data from Forbes, LinkedIn, and research some of my colleagues did, to introduce you to Oliver Zuber, a man with a great understanding and knowledge on how to engage and better support sales to perform better, and then to convince you that you should start investing in essential skills first. So let's start from you. I would kindly ask you to open your chat box and to be prepared to answer this question. What kind of approach helped you cope better during COVID-19 crisis? If you want to, you have two options, option A and option B. Option A says factual approach, which means following news, gathering data, following obligatory rules and procedures. And option B, compassionate approach, which means showing and receiving empathy from your colleagues, family, superiors, or creating procedures together with your colleagues and within your company, and more human interaction. So please just type in A or B in the comments so we can see what is your opinion on what helped you cope better during COVID-19 crisis. Oliver, do you mind helping me out count this?
Sure. I'm not sure if I'm able to see the comments. Maybe Johan, I can help counting the votes.
Well, then you can tell me so we don't use too much time on waiting for the answers. What did help you more?
Well, my answer would be B here, definitely.
Okay, and we'll show data that supports that this approach really is important, and that focusing on investing in essential skills can help us cope better, even in these crisis situations. So what did the research say? As I said, we consulted Forbes, LinkedIn, and some of the colleagues Avenue B and from Avenue B and Lighthouse Organizational Development. So, and Giovanna says here, A, B, both things together. So what did Forbes say? In July this year, Forbes came out with an article about what skills are needed to succeed in 2020 and beyond. And they came up with a list of 15 different things that we need to succeed, or that we need to learn in order to succeed in 2020 to 2022. There is a lot of information here, but 2 of these 15 skills were focusing on hard skills. And the top third was focusing and is all about critical thinking, creativity, people, etc., etc., etc. So when we looked at LinkedIn, and they gathered data and published that data in January this year. This was done by Diana Pate, and LinkedIn shared data that they've collected from over 660 million professionals and 20 plus million jobs. And they got to 15 skills ones need to succeed. They divided them into 2 groups: 5 skills that are soft skills and 10 hard skills. And I can say at least 3 out of those 10 skills demand constant human interaction, constant human communication. And when we think about it, it's all about human communication. And human communication comes to the root of all problems, basically, especially if we analyze a quote by a French writer, François Garagnon. And he said, and please bear with me, I'm going to read it for you, but try to read it together with me. Between what I think, what I want to say, what I think I say, what I actually say, and what you want to hear, what you actually hear, what you think you understand, what you want to understand, and what you actually understand, there are at least 9 possibilities of miscommunication between the 2 of us. Wouldn't you agree? So this says how it is important to focus, to invest in essential skills, how we communicate. And to support this, I'm going to use some data from Nina Berezovsky and Kristiana Micheva that they gathered by doing a research on performance management during COVID-19 among 9 different industries. Here's what they said. Here is the information that they gathered. And let me circle this. This is the information before COVID-19. So how important was to have performance management conversations, very and extremely important, stated 28% of participants of this research. And during COVID-19, it rose by 25%, 25%. And let's look at another question that they asked the participants of this research. If you could change anything related to performance management in your organization, what would it be? Here at the top, you can see feedback, organizational culture, leadership. And what's here on the bottom? Rewards, incentives, ratings, so factual data. So it's more about soft, it's more about essential skills. And when we talk about feedback, what is feedback? What does feedback do for us? Feedback serves us to do at least two things: to better understand how others understand us, and to better understand others. And only when we understand each other, we are able to build a relationship that relies on trust, transparency, fairness, respect, and mutual interest. And this is the key for any kind of sales relationship or business relationship, at least from my perspective. And what do we need to better understand each other? We need to get to the 738 and 55. Anyone knows what this stands for? Oliver, you remember?
No, I'm sorry.
Not right now. Okay. Well,
Not right now.
this is a communication model that says 7% is what we say. It contains the message. 7%. 38% is voice and intonation. 55% goes for body language and facial expressions. And that is something that I don't have right now. I don't see any of you here. I see maybe you, Oliver, but I don't see any of the participants. So I don't know your reactions. I don't know how you interact with this presentation. So today we're lacking most of that body language, which makes 55% of every human interaction. And today we all have video calls. So many predict, and Bill Gates is among them, that we'll continue to work from home office in times after COVID pandemic, and that travels will be very seldom compared to pre-COVID times. So yes, I have to say that whatever we do, we cannot do without interaction with at least one person. So this is why we need to focus on essential skills. And what is focusing on essential skills giving us? It helps us to be more efficient, more motivated, and more happy, both at work and at home. We need to develop those skills, especially today in 2020 and on. So because we do not sit across each other anymore, and we engage in conversations over screen, like I am with you right now. So let's now get to Oliver, because I invited Oliver Zuber to share his perspective on why should we focus to invest in essential skills, and how can we support our sales teams with strong hard skill background. Oliver is father of two like me, but unlike me, he's responsible for sales in 11 countries and managing over 40 resellers of Motorola Solutions. And Motorola Solutions is the global provider of mission-critical communication solutions. So, Oliver,
thank you for
very
inviting
much.
me, Djordje. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you very much for joining us. And let me just stop sharing my screen so everyone can see you better. And in the meantime, I'll take some notes of you answering my questions. So I think it was this or last year when you approached me saying how soft skills are today referred to as essential skills. Why do you actually prefer this expression, essential skills, rather than soft skills?
Well, you're absolutely right, Djordje. I really believe that we should rather refer to these skills as essential and not soft. The word soft does not really reflect the importance of having these skills and actually be great at them. And if you think about it, it's essential skills: asking the right questions, learning the ability to listen and respond, learning different communication styles, and how and when to adjust your own. All of this is, to better understand your client's needs. Well, isn't that essential?
So, I agree.
I mean, these skills are at the core of communications and human interaction. And actually, how well all your sales force is equipped, because those are the guys that are out there in the field, right? And as a consequence, the better you train them, the better they will perform. So absolutely crucial that from now on, we should refer to them as essential skills.
Thank you. So let's go back to 2016 when you choose Maverick Consulting to provide you or to support you and your channel partner's sales team to develop. What were you looking for and why?
The reason I looked for a service provider to provide a training program focused entirely on essential skills is because I see myself as an initiator of change, and I'm trying to help my partners to become more successful, and eventually prepare them also for different situations they might be facing in the future, right? So our channel partners back in 2016, I mean, they were already experts in what they were doing. But that does not mean that there's no room for improvement, right? So the task was actually, I wanted to prepare my partners for approaching new verticals, to be able to generate more leads, to create new opportunities, so to extend the core and expand into adjacent markets. And for them to be able to do that and have these new conversations more effectively, I believe that a proper training program needed to be designed to prepare them to maximize the results, to achieve and to achieve the desired growth that I was expecting from them.
How were you able to do that?
How I mean, for such a training to be successful, one needs to take certain aspects into account. So first of all, it needs to be in local language. I myself have been trained in foreign languages many times at previous jobs, and it's just not as effective as having the training in the language that you later on will be using to sell. Secondly, you need to have the right trainer. So someone who understands how to gain the trust of the participants, who is able to motivate and lead them, because that's what actually a trainer is there for. He should be a motivator and a leader. And well, obviously you need proper tools, right, to get the message across. But if you're expanding into adjacent markets, if you are approaching new verticals, you're going into somehow unknown territories. You don't have a lot of experience. You're making new experiences, but there's always a certain amount of doubt and resistance, sometimes refusal, right? Why are we doing this? I need to change myself. I'm great at what I'm doing. Yes, sure you are, but I mean, bottom line, as a vendor, for me, it was key that, you know, to ensure that all this motivation, the right structure, consistency in the approach, patience, and certainly all the key performance indicators are met, because it is a long-term investment and not a one-time training. You're not going to be an expert in something when you're learning it once. Right?
When you're saying a long-term investment, how many people participated, and what change did you see in them? And in business, of course.
Good question. Well, the change I saw was tremendous, and actually exceeded my expectations, because I mean, we were talking about professionals who were already good in their job, who were doing things right. But at the same time, how do you get them to move out of their comfort zone and start to change themselves? Because this is what might be needed to go after new adventures, right? So it was less than 10 people. Why? I believe that it makes much more sense to focus on each individual during the training and dedicate proper time and effort to support him or her on this journey. And if the group gets too large, there's no interaction possible. And the goal was eventually to have a training and not a lecture. So I personally, I'm not a big fan of these mass trainings. So, well, why was it successful? Why was it successful? It was successful because we defined certain goals. We made sure that we were reaching them, and we were tracking at which stage we're currently at and what we need to change. Because you can, one approach, for example, a hard thing I would say with soft skills or essential skills training is how can you measure the success? How can you measure how good you are at what you're doing? I mean, one approach could be, measure if they're going after new verticals. Well, actually, how many meetings are generated? Because the more meetings you have, the more likely you are to sell, the more likely you're able to generate leads and opportunities. But at the same time, there's also the feedback and the behavior from the participants. And feedback was really, really good. So they mentioned, hey, I'm starting to change myself. I can see how I'm leading meetings differently, how I'm closing down on the deals much more effectively. So that was quite positive. And overall, for us at Motorola Solutions, the return of investment of such a training was really, really good.
Great, thank you.
So,
So why then, in one sentence, why would you say that everyone should start investing in essential skills first?
One sentence, huh? Wow, okay, that's tough. I'm gonna try.
Okay, do three. Do three.
Okay,
Rule of
thank you.
three.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, I think with such a training, what's really great is, think about it. I mean, what was part when I think back at the training now, how often do you have the chance to see yourself on camera in front while during a customer meeting in front of a customer? Okay, well, now during quarantines and the pandemic times, we have online meetings and you see yourself on camera. But I think that why should people invest? Because self-reflection is a very, very important part, and this was part why this training was really, really successful, because the participants understood what their thinking preferences are and what they need to change about themselves in order to be more successful. So to sum it up, companies should invest into essential skills, because with such a program, it can help all of your employees to communicate better and more effectively, both internally, right, inside the company, and externally when you have customer-facing meetings. So especially now in the times, where, as you said, where those 55% are not there, when we're not able to meet in person. So from my perspective, being a salesman, it can definitely lead to better results, and sales results and growth. But most importantly, it can lead to well-being of all participants, and it can help empower people be their best in the moments that matter.
Thank you very much, Oliver. Let me just wrap it up shortly, and if I can ask Jovana to just share my screen that I've shared already, so everyone can see it. To sum up thank you very much. To sum up what you said, so investing in essential skills, it's about asking the right questions, how to respond, and being prepared to respond, to initiate change.
Yes.
To explore new verticals, new opportunities, but it's important to do it in local language or the first working language. Trust, motivation, and leadership, it's what's requested of someone who's going to be working with people, to be prepared for unknown territories, unknown situations like we're in right now, to focus on people, on individuals, so they can benefit from it, and to get that hands-on experience. And we see over time the increase of the return of that investment. And we see that self-awareness is much higher, so we can keep on building. And this helps not only for better sales, but it gives a win-win situation, or win-win-win for you as a vendor, for your partners, and for your customers.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. So let me then just sum this up in another way. Ask yourself, who do you want to work with when we're talking about people? Do you want to work with a person who has a factual approach or compassionate approach first? So which one comes first? That's my question. Do you first need a senior technical expert, doesn't matter the field, or you need first a well-mannered, proactive, and considered individual with good enough technical knowledge? What about you, Oliver? A or B?
B.
Again, okay.
I'll stick with B. I'll stick with B.
Okay. And for the end, I want you all to ask yourself, what happens if we invest in developing people and they leave us? That's a notorious CFO, CEO conversation. But what happens if we don't invest and they stay? So it should be invest in essential skills. And our program that we have developed for Motorola Solutions and Oliver's partners is perfect example of how effective communication program can increase sales results and employee motivation and engagement. So I would like to invite all of you HR professionals and from other professions to communicate with your top management to invest more in essential skills, because they are not only limited to salespeople, rather crucial for your whole organization. If you want to continue this conversation, please feel free to reach out to Oliver Zuber. Here is his information on your right-hand side. And you can also join me in a video chat in the next 3 days. Thank you very much, Oliver, for joining and sharing your experience